It was a slow night at McDonald's. The air smelled of fries and grease. And the girl behind the counter, her name was Emily, was on her fourth straight hour without a break. Her feet hurt, her back ached, but she kept smiling at every customer. That's just the kind of person she was. Quiet kind and hardworking. She didn't complain, even when no one said thank you. The doors slid open with a soft beep. In walked a man wearing a black cap and sunglasses. His clothes were simple jeans, a jacket. Nothing special, but something about the way he walked made her pause. Calm, no rush, almost like he didn't belong in a fast food place at all. He looked around, stepped up to the counter and smiled. "Just a black coffee, please," he said gently. Emily nodded, keyed in the order, and handed him his cup. He paid in cash, thanked her, and walked off to the corner booth near the window. She thought he looked familiar, but didn't want to stare. Customers came and went. No one paid him much attention. Not even her manager, who was too busy checking the drive-through stats on his tablet. 10 minutes later, the man stood up and left, quietly, like a ghost. Emily didn't even notice until she was wiping the counters, but then she saw it. A brown leather wallet sitting right there on the table. Where he'd been. She glanced at the door. He was gone. Her heart skipped. Without thinking, she grabbed the wallet and rushed outside. The night air was cold. The parking lot was almost empty. But there, across the lot, the man was walking away toward the street. "Sir! Sir, wait!" She called out, waving the wallet in her hand. The man stopped, turned slowly, and saw her running toward him. "You dropped this," Emily said, breathless as she reached him. His eyes widened behind his sunglasses. He took off his cap. That's when she realized this wasn't just any man. It was Keanu Reeves, the actor. The star, the man in all those movies. But he didn't act like a star. He didn't laugh or get annoyed. He looked at the wallet, then at her, and smiled. "Thank you," he said genuinely. "Most people wouldn't have done that." Emily blushed. "It's nothing, just didn't want you to lose it." But Keanu looked at her differently, like he really saw her. Not just a worker behind a counter. Not just someone in a uniform. His face softened. "What's your name?" he asked. She told him. He nodded like he'd remember it. "You're a good person, Emily." She didn't know what to say to that. He shook her hand, thanked her again, and walked away. No bodyguards, no camera crew. Just a man disappearing into the night. Emily returned inside. Her heart was still racing, and she didn't tell anyone what happened. Not even her co-workers. It felt personal, special. Like a secret moment shared between two strangers. But what she didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that her manager had seen her run outside. Had seen her leave her post for a few minutes. And he didn't like it. The next morning, she was called into the back office. "You left the counter during your shift," the manager said, flipping through the schedule sheet. "We can't allow that," Emily tried to explain. "It was just for a minute. A customer left his wallet." "Doesn't matter," he cut her off. "Company policy is clear." She was stunned, fired, just like that. No second chances. No real discussion. She packed her things in silence, still wearing her McDonald's cap, still in shock. She didn't even cry. She just walked out. But somewhere in the city, Keanu Reeves remembered her name. He remembered the girl who chased him down, not because he was famous, but because she was kind, and what he would do next would change her life forever. Emily sat on the bus with her McDonald's uniform still on. Her name tag was scratched. Her hands were cold. She kept thinking about what had just happened in the manager's office. Fired, just like that. No warning. No kindness. No understanding. The bus bumped along the road, but she hardly noticed. Her mind kept replaying the conversation over and over again. "You left the counter during work hours." "But I was returning a customer's wallet." "That's not your job. You're not paid to chase people outside." That's what her Manager had said Emily had worked there for almost 2 years. She had never been late, never taken extra breaks. She even cleaned up other people's messes without being asked. But none of that mattered. One good deed, and now she had no job. When she reached home, her mom opened the door. "You're back early," she said, surprised. Emily didn't speak at first. Her throat was tight. Then finally she whispered, "I got fired." Her mom stared at her confused. "Why? What happened?" "I helped a man. He left his wallet behind. I ran after him to return it." Her mom looked shocked. "That's all? That's why they let you go?" Emily nodded. Her mom hugged her, but that didn't stop the pain. Emily felt like the world was unfair. She tried to do the right thing, and still, she was punished. Later that night, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. She thought about Keanu Reeves, the man she had helped, the man who had thanked her and smiled kindly. Did he know what happened after he left? Of course not. He was just a customer, a stranger. He had no idea she had lost her job because of him. She didn't blame him, but still, a part of her wished he knew. The next day, Emily started looking for new work. She printed out resumes, walked store to store, and asked for job openings. Most places said no. A few said, "We'll call you," but she knew they wouldn't. Her confidence was low. Every time she walked in wearing the same old shoes, the same tired look, she felt invisible. No one saw the girl who once chased after someone just to return a lost wallet. They just saw someone desperate for work. Meanwhile, something strange began happening online. A video was posted by a customer who had been at McDonald's the same night as Emily. The video showed Keanu Reeves walking in, ordering coffee, and then leaving. Then it showed Emily rushing out behind him with a wallet in her hand. The video was shaky, but clear enough. The person who posted it added the caption, "This McDonald's worker just chased down Keanu Reeves to return his wallet. Respect." Video slowly began to spread. A few people liked it. Then a few thousand. Then it started showing up on news sites, Instagram stories, and even Reddit. People began asking questions. Who is this girl? Did she get rewarded? Where is she now? Emily didn't know any of this. She wasn't online much. Her phone was old and always dying. She spent most of her time filling out job forms and worrying about rent. But across the city, Keanu Reeves saw the video. He paused it, rewatched it. And then he asked his assistant quietly, "Can we find her?" At the same time, people online started digging. A few figured out the McDonald's location. A few guessed who the girl was. One even said, "My cousin works there. Her name is Emily. She just got fired." That comment changed everything. Suddenly, people weren't just praising her for kindness. They were getting angry. Angry at the company. Angry at the manager. Angry that a good deed led to someone losing their job. Tweets flooded in. "You fire her for being a good human? She deserves a medal, not a pink slip. Hey at McDonald's, explain this." The pressure built. It was like a storm. Emily still had no idea. She didn't know the internet was watching. She didn't know that Keanu Reeves had seen the video. She didn't know that something was coming, but it was. And soon, her life would never be the same. Emily was sitting in a small cafe, holding a cup of tea that had gone cold. It had been 5 days since she got fired from McDonald's. She had applied to 8 places already. No one had called her back. She had even walked into a bookstore and asked if they needed someone to clean shelves. The old man at the counter smiled sadly and shook his head. She felt lost. She opened her phone, scrolled through job listings, and sighed. Most required experience or college degrees. She had neither. Just 2 years of working at a fast food counter and a heart full of good intentions. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. A message from her friend Kelly. "Girl, you're all over the internet." Emily frowned. What is she talking about? Then, another message came in, this time with a link. McDonald's worker fired for helping Keanu Reeves. Emily clicked it. A YouTube video loaded. It was grainy, filmed on a customer's phone, but it was her. The moment she ran after the man with the wallet. And then, a still frame of Keanu Reeves, looking surprised as she handed it back to him, her eyes widened. Below the video were thousands of comments. That girl is a hero. She's got more heart than most people. Keanu should help her. McDonald's should be ashamed. She scrolled faster. Her hands were shaking. Her stomach flipped. Why is this happening? She clicked another article. Fast food worker punished for kindness fired after helping a stranger. That stranger? Keanu Reeves. Reeves responds, "She reminded me that kindness still exists." She froze. Keanu saw it. He remembered me. The article quoted him. It said Keanu had seen the video, and in a press interview he was asked about it. The reporter said, "A young woman working at McDonald's chased after you to return your wallet. Did you know she was fired?" Keanu's answer was calm but serious. "I didn't know that." "That's heartbreaking. She was kind. She didn't know who I was. She just did what was right." The reporter asked if he planned to do anything. Keanu replied, "I'm trying." "To find her," Emily gasped. She couldn't believe it. Her face turned red. Her heart pounded. The man she had helped for just 30 seconds remembered her, was talking about her. On the news, to the whole world. She opened Instagram. Her inbox was full. Hundreds of people messaging her. Strangers, old classmates. People she didn't know. "You're a hero. Keanu's looking for you. You deserve better." Her name was trending. Some people had even found her photo and made posts like, "Let's help Emily," or "Justice for the kind worker." And then her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" A calm male voice replied, "Hi, is this Emily Collins?" "Yes." "This is Michael. I'm calling on behalf of Keanu Reeves." She stood up so fast, she knocked over her chair in the cafe. Other customers stared. Her face turned bright red. What? "Mr. Reeves saw the video. He asked me to find you. If you're open to it, he'd like to meet with you personally. To thank you." Emily's legs went weak. Her voice shook. "He wants to meet me?" "Yes," the man replied gently. "Only if you're comfortable. We can set a time, private. No press, just you and him." Emily whispered, "I'd like that." After the call, she sat back down slowly. The people in the cafe kept glancing at her. She couldn't even drink her tea now. Everything had changed. Her small act of kindness, just returning a lost wallet, had turned into something massive, something she didn't ask for, didn't expect. She walked home in silence. Her thoughts racing. Why me? How did a tiny moment become a headline? And what was Keanu going to say when they met again? She didn't know it yet, but her story had already touched millions of hearts. And this was just the beginning. Emily couldn't sleep the night before the meeting. Every time she closed her eyes, her mind filled with questions. What would Keanu say? Would it be quick? Would there be cameras? What should she wear? She didn't own anything fancy. Just jeans, a plain shirt, and a coat that was a little too big for her. She ended up choosing something simple. A clean white blouse and dark pants. She tied her hair back, looked in the mirror, and took a deep breath. She still couldn't believe any of this was real. Just a week ago, she was working late-night shifts at McDonald's. Now she was about to meet one of the most famous actors in the world. The meeting was set to take place in a quiet studio building in downtown. No press, no reporters. Just her, Keanu, and his assistant. When she arrived, she was greeted kindly at the front desk, then led through a hallway to a private lounge. And there he was. Keanu Reeves stood up the moment she entered. He smiled, not the fake kind of smile celebrities give in photos, but a real, warm one. The same kind of smile he gave her the night she returned his wallet. "Emily," he said, gently, "it's really good to see you again." She nodded, trying not to freeze. "Hi, I can't believe I'm really here." He chuckled softly. "Me neither. But I'm glad you are." They both sat down. His assistant offered her a glass of water. Emily's hands were shaking, but she held the glass tightly, trying to stay calm. "I wanted to meet you," Keanu said, "because you did something most people wouldn't." Emily shrugged. "It was just a wallet." He looked at her seriously. "It wasn't just a wallet. You didn't know who I was. You didn't do it for attention. You did it because you care. That means something, especially in this world." Emily blinked, surprised. "I didn't expect all this. I didn't even know people were filming." "I didn't either." He sighed, smiling. "But I'm glad they were. Because now the world got to see who you really are." Emily lowered her head. "But I lost my job because of it." "I know," Keanu replied. "That's why I'm here." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. He placed it gently on the table in front of her. "I wanted to help," he said, "not just with words." Emily looked at the envelope but didn't touch it. "What is it?" "Something to take the pressure off," he answered. "I know what it's like to feel stuck. I've had moments in life where things felt too heavy. So this is a small way to say thank you and to say I believe in you." She finally opened the envelope. Her eyes widened. It was a check. Enough money to cover rent for a whole year. Enough to help her breathe. Enough to help her start over. Tears filled her eyes. I can't accept this." Keanu leaned forward. "You can. And you should. Not because you owe me anything, but because the world needs more people like you. And I want to help you keep being who you are." Emily wiped her eyes, struggling to find words. No one had ever done something like this for her. Not a boss. Not a friend. Not even family. And here was a man she barely knew, giving her hope when she had almost given up. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he replied. "Just promise me one thing." She looked up. "What?" "Don't let this world change your kindness." Emily nodded slowly. "I won't." They talked for a while longer, not about movies or fame, just about life. He told her a little about his sister, who had been sick, and how kindness from strangers helped him through dark times. She shared how she grew up without much, but always believed in helping others, even if she had little herself. When it was time to go, Keanu stood up and gave her a gentle hug. "I hope this gives you a fresh start," he said. "It already has." Emily replied as she walked out of the building. The city felt different, brighter, warmer. Her heart felt full. She didn't just meet a movie star. She met a human being who understood her pain and chose to lift her up. And the world, it was still watching. Emily walked home that evening with a strange feeling in her chest. It wasn't fear. It wasn't sadness. It was something soft. Something warm. Hope. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like life was against her. She felt like maybe, just maybe, things were about to get better. The envelope was still in her bag. She hadn't touched the money yet. She wasn't sure she even would. It wasn't about the check. It was about the feeling. About how someone had seen her, truly seen her, and thought she was worth helping. That night, she told her mom everything. From the first meeting at McDonald's to the call from Keanu's assistant to the meeting in the quiet building. Her mother sat in silence for a moment. Then she smiled and hugged Emily tightly. "You did something good," she said softly. "And good came back to you." Emily smiled, but a small voice inside her asked, "What do I do now?" The next morning, she got up early, dressed in clean clothes, and sat at the kitchen table with her laptop. She didn't search for fast food jobs this time. She searched for something different, something that could give her a purpose. She had always wanted to help people, maybe work with kids or take care of the elderly. But she'd never believed. She had the chance. Now with a little help from Keanu, maybe she did. While she was scrolling, her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. She picked up carefully. Hello? Hi Emily, this is Jane from Channel 9 News. We'd love to do a short interview with you. The story has inspired so many people. Emily's heart skipped. I don't know. I'm not good at being on camera, she said nervously. Jane laughed kindly. That's okay. Just be yourself. People love you already. You don't have to be perfect. Just real, Emily agreed. The interview was set for the next afternoon. It was a short clip, only 5 minutes. But it changed everything again. Emily sat in a chair, wearing a simple blue top. Her voice was quiet but steady. She explained what happened. How she saw the wallet. How she didn't know it was Keanu. How she simply did what felt right. And how, instead of being praised, she was fired. Then she shared the moment she met him again. How he helped her. How he told her not to let the world change her kindness. The anchor smiled and said, Emily, I think you just reminded the world that goodness still exists. After the interview aired, Emily's life exploded again. Her inbox filled with messages from people across the country and even other countries. One woman wrote, I cried watching your story. My daughter wants to be like you. A man wrote, I lost my job last year for something similar. Watching you gave me hope again. And then came a message from a local community center. They asked if she would come speak to their youth group. Just for a short talk, just to share her experience. Emily said yes. The center was small but full of life. Kids of all ages sat in a circle, their eyes wide as she spoke. She told them about doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. She told them about the pain of losing her job, and the surprise of meeting someone who believed in her. When she finished, a young girl came up and hugged her. I want to be like you when I grow up, the girl whispered. Emily's eyes filled with tears. That night, she sat with her mom and said, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Her mom smiled. Then let's figure out how. The next few days moved fast. She was invited to more centers, small schools, youth clubs, even a shelter for women starting. Everywhere she went, people wanted to hear her story. Not because she was famous, but because she was real. Because she was kind. She didn't feel small anymore. She didn't feel invisible. And Keanu? He watched from afar, quietly, respectfully. One day, Emily got a letter in the mail. It had no return address. Just her name. Inside was a handwritten note. I saw your interview. You're doing something powerful. I'm proud of you, Kay. Emily folded the letter carefully and tucked it away in her drawer. She didn't need more money. She didn't need more attention. She just needed to remember this. She was enough. She was seen. And her kindness had changed everything. 1 week later, Emily sat on the edge of her bed, reading the same letter over and over again. It was short, written in neat handwriting, and signed with just one letter, K. But she knew exactly who it was from. Keanu had seen her interview. He had seen the kids listening to her story. He had seen her trying to use her voice to help others. And once again, he had quietly reached out. No cameras, no crowds. Just a simple message that told her he was proud. Emily felt something shift inside her. She had spent most of her life thinking she was just an ordinary girl, a quiet person in the background. But now she realized something important. Even quiet people can make a loud difference. That same day, she received a call from the community center director. Emily, he said, we've been getting so many requests. More schools want you to visit. More kids want to meet you. And there's one more thing. She waited. There's a young girl who's been struggling. Her name's Leela. Her mom passed away last year. She's been angry, scared, and barely talks to anyone. But after seeing your video, she asked if she could meet you. Emily's heart softened immediately. Of course, I'll come tomorrow. The next morning, Emily went to the center. Lila was sitting alone in a corner, hugging a book to her chest. Her hair was messy, and her eyes looked tired. Emily walked over slowly and sat down beside her. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Emily." Lila didn't look at her. "I heard you wanted to meet me," Emily continued. "I'm really glad you did." Lila finally looked up. Her voice was small. "You helped someone. And then someone helped you back." Emily smiled. "Yes, but I didn't help him because I wanted anything. I just saw someone drop something, and I did what felt right." Lila whispered, "I don't help people anymore." "Why not?" Emily asked gently. "They leave like my mom did." Emily's heart ached. She placed her hand lightly over Lila's. "Sometimes when we help people, we're not doing it for them. We're doing it to remind ourselves that love still exists. That kindness still matters, even when the world feels unfair." Lila looked at her for a long time. Then, for the first time in weeks, the little girl nodded. Just once. Later, the center director pulled Emily aside. "I don't know what you said to her, but that's the first time she's spoken more than 2 words all month." Emily felt tears in her eyes. She didn't feel like a hero. She just listened. She just cared. But maybe that was enough. Over the next few days, things kept moving forward. She got more letters from strangers, people who had heard her story and wanted to say thank you. One woman wrote, "I used to think kindness didn't matter anymore. You changed my mind." Emily was invited to a small radio show, then a local podcast. She spoke about the night it all began, the dropped wallet, the firing, the surprise meeting with Keanu, and everything that came after. She told listeners about second chances, and how one small act of goodness can ripple across many lives. But not everyone was silent. One day, a letter arrived from McDonald's corporate office. They had seen the news, the videos, the interviews, and now they were offering her the job back with an apology. They even promised a raise. Emily thought about it for a moment, then shook her head. She didn't want to go back, not because she was angry, but because she had found something better. Her voice. That evening, her mom found her staring at a blank notebook. "What's on your mind?" she asked. "I want to do something more permanent," Emily said. "Not just talks and visits. Maybe I can start something. A program for teens, workshops, a place where people like Lila can heal." Her mom smiled proudly. "Then do it. I'll help you." Emily wrote down her first idea that night. Project Kindness, a place where goodness grows. Didn't know how to start a nonprofit. She didn't know how funding worked or how to write proposals. But she knew this. She had people behind her. She had Keanu's quiet support. She had kids who believed in her. And more importantly, she believed in herself now too. What had started as a dropped wallet was turning into something so much bigger. Days passed quickly. Emily was busier than she had ever been in her life. She wasn't working at a fast food counter anymore. Now she was speaking to classrooms, youth groups, and even local libraries. Everywhere she went, people wanted to hear her story. Not because she was famous, but because she was real. Her new project, Project Kindness, was slowly coming to life. She didn't have a big team or lots of money, but she had heart. She started by setting up a small space in the community center. Just 2 folding chairs, some markers, and a whiteboard. But to her, it was a beginning. Kids came after school. Some were quiet, some loud. Some had been bullied. Some had lost parents, friends, or hope. But when they sat with Emily, they listened. She didn't talk like a teacher. She talked like a friend. She told them about her lowest day, how she got fired for doing something good, and how, after all the pain, something beautiful still happened. But Emily also knew she couldn't do everything alone. One day, while sitting in the small room after a session with the kids, she thought of Keanu. She hadn't heard from him since the letter, but his words stayed with her. So she decided to write back. She didn't have his address, but she gave the letter to his assistant, hoping it would reach him. In her letter she wrote, "I'm building something. Something I hope will help more people. It's small now, but it's growing. Just like I am. Thank you for believing in me before I believed in myself." A week later she got a call. The voice on the other end made her heart skip. "Hey Emily," said the soft voice. "It's Keanu." She froze. "Hi, wow. I didn't think you'd actually call. I read your letter," he said. "And I think what you're doing is amazing. I'd like to help if you'll let me." Emily nearly dropped the phone. "Help? Like how?" "I want to visit the center, quietly, no press, just me." Emily agreed, almost in disbelief. The day he arrived, the kids had no idea who he was. Most of them were too young to know his movies. To them, he was just a quiet man in a black coat with kind eyes. He sat in the circle with them, listened to their stories, watched as Emily led the group with gentle strength. Afterward, as the kids left, he pulled Emily aside. "This place, it's something special," he said. She nodded. "It's still small." "Everything starts small," he replied. "But what you've created, it's real." Emily hesitated. "Some days I'm scared, like maybe it's too big for me. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Not strong enough." Keanu looked at her and said, "Do you know why I came back?" She shook her head. "Because you reminded me of someone," he said quietly. "My sister. When she was sick, she used to say, 'Kindness is the only thing that keeps the world from falling apart.'" Emily's eyes filled with tears. "I see that same light in you," he added. They stood there in silence for a moment. Then he reached into his bag and handed her a small package. Inside was a notebook, hand-bound, with a soft leather cover. On the first page, he had written, "For your ideas, for your dreams. For every person you'll help, Kay." Emily held it tightly. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to," he replied. "Just keep going." After he left, Emily sat in the quiet room alone. She opened the notebook and began to write. Ideas poured out of her plans for workshops, group sessions, kindness challenges, and support meetings. She wrote about Lila, the girl who had started smiling again. She wrote about the boy who had told her, "You're the only one who listens to me." And she wrote about the moment she ran out of a McDonald's, chasing after a wallet, not knowing that she was running toward a new life. Weeks passed, and the project kept growing. Volunteers began to join. A local bakery offered free snacks for the kids. A retired teacher came in to tutor those struggling in school. A single mother donated books. Slowly, Project Kindness became more than just a room. It became a movement. One evening, as Emily watched the kids laugh and draw on the whiteboard, she thought about the girl she used to be, the one standing behind a counter, tired and unsure of herself. That girl had changed, not because of money, not because of fame, but because she chose kindness even when no one was looking. And that one choice changed everything. The sun was setting outside the community center, painting the sky with soft orange and pink. Inside, the room was full of quiet laughter, the sound of crayons scratching paper, and the gentle hum of hope. Emily stood near the window, watching the kids color, talk, and share snacks. It felt like a dream she never planned, but one that came true anyway. Project Kindness had started as just an idea, a wish really, but now it was real. Real kids, real stories, real change, and Emily, she had changed too. She was no longer just the girl who worked behind the counter. She was no longer the one who walked home worried about rent or if people saw her as just another worker. Now people called her a leader, a voice, a light for others. But she didn't do it for those words. She did it because she knew what it felt like to be invisible. She knew what it felt like to be punished for doing the right thing. And she never wanted someone else to feel that alone. That evening, as the kids packed up to go home, one of the boys, Jordan, ran up to her. He was holding a wrinkled piece of paper with a stick figure drawing. "It's you," he said proudly. "And him." The guy with the black coat. Emily looked at the drawing. It was her and Keanu standing under a rainbow. The words at the top said, "Thank you for making my world better." She smiled and hugged Jordan. "This is the best gift I've ever gotten." After the kids left, Emily sat alone, staring at the picture. She thought about everything that had happened. All of it started with a wallet, one moment, one choice. She remembered that night so clearly. How tired she had been. How her shift was almost over. How she could have just let the man walk out and never said a word. But something inside her pushed her forward. A small voice that said, "Go. Help." She didn't know it was Keanu Reeves. She didn't expect anything in return. And yet, her small act of kindness had created a wave. The door creaked open. It was her mom, still here? She asked gently. Emily nodded, just thinking. Her mom walked in and sat beside her. "I saw you on the news again." They did a new story about Project Kindness. People are amazed. "I don't want to be famous," Emily said softly. "I just want to keep this going, keep helping." Her mom smiled. "Then you're already doing what matters." A few days later, something happened that left Emily speechless. The mayor of the city invited her to a small ceremony. She thought it would just be a handshake, maybe a photo. But when she arrived, the mayor stood in front of the crowd and spoke proudly. "This young woman reminded us all that a single act of goodness can change lives. She showed us what humanity really means. And today, we honor her for that." They gave her a medal, a golden pin that said, "Beacon of Kindness." Emily held it in her hands, stunned. After the ceremony, people lined up to shake her hand. Some cried. Some just smiled. But all of them said the same thing: "You gave me hope." That night, Emily got another letter. This one was from Keanu again. It read, "I saw what you've built. You didn't just return a wallet that night, you gave the world something better. You reminded us how simple kindness can become something powerful. I'm proud to have met you. Keep going, always." Emily placed the letter next to the first one in her drawer. Every time she read them, she felt stronger. Weeks turned into months. Project Kindness expanded. A second center opened on the other side of town. Volunteers from different cities called in. Even a small publisher asked Emily to write a short book about her journey. She wrote it simply, like how she spoke. With honesty and heart. The title? It started with a wallet. The book told her story. But more than that, it told the stories of the kids she met, the lessons she learned, and the truth she discovered. You don't need money to help someone. You don't need fame to make a difference. You just need to care. Emily's life was no longer quiet, but she stayed humble. Every morning, she returned to the same center. Every day, she sat in the same chair. And every time a new child walked in, scared or shy, she greeted them with the same warmth. Because she knew something they didn't yet. They mattered. They were enough, and their story was just beginning. Just like hers did. On one quiet night, in a fast food restaurant, with a lost wallet and an open heart.